This time on yet another car show, I've got a couple of mods and a little bit of maintenance. Okay, so this time around I'm pretty disappointed. All of my friends are up at the tail of the dragon and I'm sitting here at home. But what can I do? I'm on a spectator's budget, so I had to skip it this year. But I'm coming for it next year. Hopefully. Just because I'm not at the Dragon, though, doesn't mean that I can't have a weekend full of car stuff. So, I have 3 projects that I'm going to accomplish today. I'm going to be shortening the OEM radio antenna, because I don't like the look of the aftermarket shorty antenna that I bought. I'm going to be fixing a small exhaust leak on this car, and I'm going to be replacing the spark plugs on my other Mazda2. That's right, I forgot to mention in my introduction video that I actually have 2 of these cars. My girlfriend and I, we liked this one so much that we went out and bought a 2013 Mazda 2 Touring for her to drive, and it's a great car, they both are. So, let's get started. And so begins my first project of the day. Alright, so here's the OEM antenna. It's really long, it's about 30 inches long. And there's my aftermarket shorty antenna that I got off eBay. See why I don't like it? It's really fat around the base. It doesn't fit the antenna base very well. So I'm going to be combining the best of both worlds by chopping down the OEM antenna. Now I'm borrowing the information here. One of the members on the Mazda 2 Owners Club Facebook page, Aaron Ciotti, and forgive me if I'm butchering your name, provided this information. So thank you for sharing that, and I hope you don't mind me borrowing it for my video. According to the Facebook post, you want to determine the overall length of your antenna and then fraction it as not to destroy the effectiveness of the antenna. In this case, we're going to end up with a 7.5 inch long antenna down from 30 inches. And it's pretty simple. All you need is your tape measure to determine your cut length, some tape to mask off the cutting area, and a cutting device. In my case, I have an angle grinder. Is it overkill? Yeah, probably, but it'll be quick and easy. And then once it's chopped, you take this little nib off the end, pop it on the newly shortened antenna, and you're good to go. If you yourself are using an angle grinder as well for this type of modification, just be careful. They can do a lot of damage, so take the proper precautions. It couldn't be simpler. Just to ensure that our little nib doesn't fall off the end, I'm going to add a dab of industrial adhesive to the very end of this antenna, just to ensure that that thing stays on. And there you have it. A nice shortened antenna that looks a lot nicer and cleaner than the other one. Now, I'm sure this principle probably applies to other cars with stationary antennas, so this might be a mod for you, even if you don't own a Mazda 2. Disclaimer though, the maths went into doing this one. It was all predetermined, everything. I can't speak for any other applications, so if you go and chop your antenna and it doesn't work, don't blame me. Do the math first. Alright, let's move on to our next project. Okay, some background on my exhaust. I actually didn't have this made. I bought it secondhand from another Mazda 2 owner in the Facebook group, and in order for him to ship it to me, he had to cut it into 2 pieces so it would fit in the box. And once I got it, and rather than having the 2 pieces welded back together the right way, I just have them clamped together, and it's not a slip joint or anything, it's just pipe-to-pipe butt joint with a clamp holding it together, and no matter how much I tighten it, I always get that ticka-ticka-ticka, you know, the exhaust leak noise, and so I'm going to put a Band-Aid on it. I'm going to see if muffler bandage will be able to seal up that joint, and then I'm going to clamp over the muffler bandage. So we'll see how that works. It won't be a permanent fix. Eventually I want to have it welded up, but it'll probably be the long-term fix for now, because I'm tired of hearing that leaking sound, and I also don't have money to have it welded. We'll see. Okay, I took my car for a spin, and both the things I've done today seem to have been successful endeavors. The radio works great. I don't see any loss of range compared to the other antenna I had before, which worked fine, and it looks 10 times better. So I can't prove the whole thing that it works, copyright with songs and everything, and I didn't want to sit around and wait for commercials to come on. But it works, so I'm happy. As far as the exhaust, I think that worked too. I still get a little bit of the ticking exhaust leak sound, if I'm in high gear going slow and, lugging it a little bit. But, at wide open throttle, I don't hear the noise anymore. So that's good. For the $4 I spent on that muffler bandage, I think that was a pretty good investment, and I got a good result out of it. Now the real work can begin, because the other car is here. So it'll be a little more labor intensive than the other stuff, because I have to take the whole air intake off. It runs over the top of the engine, and I don't know how involved that is or what tools are required, but I'll be sure to make a list for any other Mazda2 owners that want to attempt this themselves in the future. Plus, taking all this off will prep me for one day when I want to paint the valve cover on my car, so that'll be exciting. I'll get started. And the airbox is off. I did have a time lapse going of me undoing all of this stuff, but I guess the phone decided to not record it. But really, this was super simple. There's just 3 10mm bolts, one here, one on the back of the airbox that are holding it all down. There's 2 on the valve cover, 1 on the intake manifold. The only other tools I needed were a flathead screwdriver to undo that tube from here to here, and a Phillips to undo the outlet to the throttle body. And that's all. I've just turned it to the side. There's a couple of vacuum hoses up underneath here that they just pop into place. You don't have to undo them at all. So this is looking like it's going to be pretty simple. This is another one of the things I love about Mazda. They build entire cars out of 10s, 12s, and 14s pretty much. The bolts on top of the coils are also 10mm, so I've only had to get out one tool, essentially. This is going pretty smoothly. Alright, there they are. 67,000 miles versus brand new. Not that bad. I ended up going with an NGK G-Power Platinum instead of an Iridium, mostly because of budgetary reasons. These were less than $4 a piece versus double that or more, I think, for the Iridiums at the local parts store. So it'll be fine. This is just a daily commuter car. It'll be fine. So I'm going to take the whopping 5 minutes it's going to take to finish up the rest of the car and probably call it a day. Alright, minutes later, the car's pretty much back together. All I have to do is start it up, make sure it runs okay, then I can button it up, and I'll be done. Sweet! There's a little less Ford in her now. That's a good thing. Let's just chuck that right in the trash. Alright, that's all she wrote. I literally only needed a half hour of my time, a 10mm socket, a spark plug socket, and a couple of screwdrivers to get that job done. Anybody with a basic set of hand tools could tackle that, no problem. So that's all my projects for today. I think I got a lot done, a lot of success, good Saturday. I'm going to go have myself a cold beer. If you enjoy yet another car show, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you guys in a future episode. Thanks for watching. Still here? Okay, have a burnout.